Is this the kind of creeping, asphyxiating hand of the state into our lives?
Well, frankly, I think it is, yes. I think most people are comfortable with the idea that there are certain things that you shouldn't be able to sell to young people. So I wouldn't want a 10-year-old to be able to, go and buy fireworks or vodka or cigarettes. But there has to be a line drawn somewhere. And I think banning energy drinks is the wrong side of that line. It's not proportionate to the risks involved. Most young people get, far more sugar from other things, far more caffeine from drinking, tea, coffee and Coke and so on. So the evidence that people are getting a lot of sugar or caffeine from these energy products is pretty limited. On top of that, you've got to consider all the hassle involved for retailers in enforcing this. And finally, will it even work? I did a straw poll of teenagers on the school run this morning, and one overwhelming feeling I got back was that the one way to make something more popular is to ban it. Then it becomes cooler.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think if you did restrict the sale of these things, people just want them more.
No, exactly that. But I think for me, it's just a bit of a wider point, isn't it, really? I think it's almost quite offensive, I find this, to humans, really, because the idea that we're not capable of making our own decisions. Now, I understand, kids, the argument might be that children don't really necessarily know what they're doing. Well, just tell them. Just say to them, energy drinks are not particularly great for you. There are certain health connotations that are not particularly positive. And then if they want to have it, they can have it. I mean, I'm worried about where does this end? Do we get banned from doing absolutely anything that the state doesn't want us to do?
Well, I agree with that. I think that applies to lots of products. In many ways, young people at the moment are what's sometimes called generation sensible. And I know lots of parents may disagree with that. But, people are now well aware of the risks, for example, of smoking. If they want to continue to do it, then, that's their choice. I don't think they should be banned or restricted in disproportionate ways from doing that. People know that, sugary drinks are bad for you. But why then ban sugary drinks, but still allow people to go into your local newsagent and buy 5 pounds of jelly babies if you want to? That it doesn't make sense. There isn't a strong evidence base for this. I think it's just people trying to make a point. We have been through a pandemic where health officials have had enormous amounts of power. I think this is just a stretch too far.
Yeah, and you've hit the nail on the head there, So I, presumably as a 15-year-old in Wales, if this all goes through, would not be able to go in and buy a can of Red Bull, but I could buy my entire weight in sweets and eat them right outside. I mean, that doesn't seem to make too much sense for me. And we did a thing yesterday about whether or not to raise the age of consent, I suppose, is it? Or the age of being able to buy, anyway, cigarettes to 21. And there's a lot of this going around at the minute. And I just don't think it's really particularly great for people, really. I think, we need to have the freedom of choice. And that's my concern.